Hello all. As so far we have studied a lot of concepts related to SQL. So now let's study further that what are the new things which we can incorporate in SQL and try to get more understanding with respect to data and understand more logical implementation with the same. So today we are going to study something from the procedural SQL. Now what is a procedural SQL? What is the meaning of procedure? A step-by-step approach. So the procedural SQL is a component of SQL where a processes or a logical statements, looping structure or step-by-step approaches are stored. In this, we write statements such as create, declare, begin, end and so on. So that is what we are going to see over here in the procedural part of SQL, and the topic which we are going to study today is nothing but case when or the case when statements. You all must have heard case when, but if you have not heard, you all obviously must have heard if-else into the logical part or into the basics of programming. Now what was an if-else statement? If the condition is satisfied, do something. If the condition is not satisfied, do something else. So that's the same thing which we are going to understand today in the case when statement. Now imagine that you have a criteria to check that is it raining or not. Based on that, you are going to make a decision of going to school or not. Imagine today it's raining heavily. So the rain is equals to true as a condition. So when this condition is true, you have to say that you are not going to go to school. So rain as a condition or a criteria is being checked over here, and if this condition is being satisfied, you are stating it in the outcome that you are not going to go to school. But is it true that this condition is always going to be true? No, that this condition will sometime or the other will turn itself to false. So what will happen at that particular instance? We can definitely move into else, that it will say that if it is not raining, that is a rain is equals to false, else you have to go to school. So that's a conditional check which we are doing. That was a very basic example which I wanted you to understand, that what does a conditional check means and what will happen with that if-else statements. So very similar to those if-else statements, we have a logic into a case when which we will understand over here. As you can see on my screen, that there is a data, there is a flow diagram which I have brought into consideration, and we'll understand how does case when works, how do we write, what is the syntactical way of writing the same. We will also understand how does it actually executes. We will see some practical examples for the same, that how case when will be used with multiple approaches such as select, update and so on. So if I go over here, you can see that there is a product table which I have. But first of all, let's understand what is the simplistic meaning of case when. Now, when I talk upon something called as case when, so case when statements helps to check the specified condition or expression is true or not. So case when helps to check a specified condition, or I can call it expression. Many people call it as expression, or many people call it as statements as well. So check a specified condition or expression is true or not. So obviously not always it is going to be true. We have understood with that example that raining was not always a true as a criteria. Some or the other time it is going to go into else. So else will execute when the statement or the condition was not true. And if you don't give else, by default it will give you null over here. So I have this data which I wanted to write with respect to case when. So let's understand that how I am going to create an outcome for the same. So I want to say that case when, check when the unit price is greater than 300, then it's a high price product. And if it is not, then it's a low price product. So I have a condition to check. That check when, that is a case when, a condition when the unit price is greater than 500. then you have to say, if this condition is ideally true, then you have to say that it's a high price product. And if it is not, then you will say that it's a low price product. So how am I going to write it over here? I'll write case, that is a condition which I wanted to check. Case, when I wanted to check when the unit price over here is greater than what? Greater than 500. Now, if this condition or this check will give me answer as true, then I will return. So then you can see it's very simple to the English language which I'm talking or speaking over here. So then what? It's a high price product. So I'll write it's a high price product. And if this condition is not true, because it's not always going to be true, it's not always said that unit price of that product is going to be greater than 500. It can be less than 500 over here. So what I wanted to do is, I wanted to say that if it is less than 300, let me not write 500, 300 based on the data. So if it is less than 300, then I want to say that it's a low price product. So I'll write else. That if this condition is not true, else what do I have to write? That it's a low price product. So if it is not satisfying this condition, it's a low price product which is there. So case, a condition which I am checking, if the condition is satisfied, then what I have to do? So then statement can be anything. It can be a value, it can be a calculation, it can be anything over here. And if this is not satisfied, you can apply multiple case conditions, and if anyone amongst them is not satisfied, you'll write else. But if you forget to write else, it will give you blank at the same. So when I do this and execute this over here, it will show me here as high price, and rest all of them are going to be shown as low price over here. So a new column or a new calculation, you can add it into your data. So this is how it works. So a single expression, a check which I am doing, equals to a case constraint. Is it equals to the check which I am doing over here? If yes, then what I have said? High price. If no, what it has to be do? If I am writing one more case statement over here, it will check one more case condition. If it is there, if it is true, then it will perform the then operation. If it is not, it will go to the next case statement if I have written. It will check it. If it is true, it will execute the then statement over there. If it is not, it will do a by default code. That's your else. That none of the condition is mentioned, and by default it's going to be what? Low price. If you don't give else statement, it is going to be null over here, and the statement ends after the same. As I said, in procedural statements or the procedural query part of MySQL, you have to use end, begin, or some procedural part of SQL so that it understands that it's a process, it's a procedure which is going to be followed. Somewhere it needs to be ending, or somewhere it needs to have those procedural elements over here. So in this, it has an element of end, that this process is going to end after the else statement is done. So this is a simplistic example. The case when example which I have written, it's not a foolproof example. We'll see with how a case when would be implemented with select and other operations which we do with respect to our data which I have. So let's go to the code file which I have. And as I talk upon SQL case when condition. The SQL case function is a powerful and versatile conditional expression. Now what's a conditional expression? A conditional check which will happen on your data based on the condition which you will mention. And that allows you to perform conditional logic within SQL queries. So SQL queries can implement conditional logic related outcomes based on the case when statements. It is used to evaluate multiple conditions. As I showed you in the flow diagram, it's not mandatory that I will always check based on the one condition check which needs to be done. I can implement multiple conditions and return different values when each condition is being satisfied over there. So multiple conditions and return different values or perform different actions based on the result sets of this condition. That is based on the outcome of this condition, different operations or the outcomes or the statements will be given out in the outcome. Essentially, it's a way to create conditional statement within your SQL queries. That's a conditional logic. Now, in programming world, we have conditional statements such as if-else. if the condition is satisfied, it will do something, else it will do something else. So that kind of conditional approach we can implement into my SQL queries to show the same. Now, what are the common use cases which SQL case when statements will have? First, data transformation. Transforming data values based on a certain condition. I can create multiple groups, records, or new columns based on the conditional check which we are doing, like categorizing data into groups or ranges. That's what I said. Now, data filtering. Filtering rows based on a specific condition, such as excluding or including certain records in the result set. I can exclude certain data, I can include certain data into result set based on the conditional statements. Now, custom calculations. Calculating custom values or aggregations based on the multiple condition. I can calculate or customize the calculation logics over here based on the conditional statement so that I can get the defined outcome over here. So the syntax over here is, as I have written, case when, check when the statement, then the result set. Another statement, then the result set. If all the statements are done, I have written else statements. But can you see I have written else in square bracket, which means if I don't write else, it's fine, it's going to work. But if none of the condition is satisfied and when it jumps to else, it will give me null when the else is not being mentioned. And you need not to forget that you have to end the statement. If you don't do it, it is going to be problematic for you because it will give you a syntactical error. So, I have a question related to categorizing employees based on the salaries. So, I have employee details table and I want to categorize the employees based on the salaries which are provided to them. So, let's try to solve with respect to the case when. I'll show you possible ways of writing the case when statements with respect to some practical implementation over here with my data. So, if I can show you over here that I have table related to employees known as select star from employee details. So this is an employees table which I have. Now what is a question that I want to categorize employees based on their salary. Now how I will categorize employees based on their salary? Let me write select star. I want all the columns to be shown, but I want a category of the employees to also be shown over here. Now, what is a category of the employees? First of all, I have to create. Now, if the employee is having salary greater than 1 lakh, so I write salary of the employee is greater than 1 lakh, then it's a high salary range. So, I have to say a high salary range. So, I have to categorize it as high. Now, if the employee is having a salary less than that, then I have to categorize it at low. So, salary less than 1 lakh. I have to categorize it as low over here. So, that is a simplistic approach. Let's see one case statement and let's try to add one multiple over here. So, how will I do it? I'll write select. Now, I want all the rows in the outcome. So, I will write all. So, select star, just select all the rows in the outcome. So, I have written all. Here, I want a case when statement. So, I'll write comma. I can directly write case when there is no issue in the same. So, I can write case. Now, can you see when I have written case, approach have started. So, I have started writing some conditional check over here. So, I'll write when. When what? If I go on the syntax, case when, check what? Check the salary. I write salary greater than 1 lakh. So if it is greater than 1 lakh, then I have to say that this is a high salary range which I am giving, which the data consists. And if I don't write anything and I end, I have not written else over here, I end from table, employee details. I do this. Can you see that all of them are shown null and few of them have shown high, but I'm not getting that what is this high and low. I'm not getting other details of my employee tables. It is just showing me the case conditional details. I want all the columns over here. So I can write star and comma. So it will show all the columns from the employee table, and there is a new column created known as case when here where the salary will be checked that greater than 1 lakh is high and less than 1 lakh is not being given. So only one check is happening that the salary is greater than 1 lakh over here. If it is, then it's a high criteria which is given. So if you can see in my data, this employee has been given high because it's 1,20,000. This employee has been given high because it's greater than 1 lakh over here. So obviously this is how it is there. I have not written else, so it is giving me null if the condition is not satisfied. But what if I write else? Else and I write if this condition is not true, then default give them low instead of giving it null. So what it has given? Low. If you remember that in this way, what I have read, single expression, it will check. If it is true, it will pass something. Not, it will go to another check, another check. And if none of the condition is mentioned, it will give a by default code. So what is my default code over here? That is low. If this condition is not satisfied, instead of throwing null, throw it as low. That if this is not true, else is low. So that is what I have got over here with respect to my data. But can you see a column name? It is having entire case when statement which I have. I don't want this to be given. So I will write end and I can give an alias over here as. That is as what? I can name this case when statement by some name. You know, a temporary name could be created with an alias. So I write as. As what? Let's say I write salary category. So I write it as salary category over here. So when I do this, it is giving me a new column known as salary category based on the check which we are doing. Now it's one case statement or a one case conditional check which I implemented. What if I want to add few more? Let's say I say that if the salary is between between what? 1 lakh. If it's greater than 1 lakh, it's high. But if it's between 1 lakh and 50,000, I say then it's a medium salary bracket, moderate salary bracket. Instead of medium, let me write moderate over here. And then if it is less than salary less than 1 lakh, 50,000 is going to be low for us. So this is what I have to create it over here now. So I'll try to modify my case when statements over here. So I've written case when salary is greater than 1 lakh, then high. I want to write one more check, one more conditional part over here. So I'll write one more when. Many people, what they do, they write a comma. It's not important. Commas are for the column names. Case is one column which we are creating it based on the multiple check. So no need to write a comma over here. So case when I write salary and I write a statement as between. I can use the statements which were there. Between what? 1 lakh and what? 50,000. Then if it is between 1 lakh and 50,000, then I'll say that it's going to be what? Moderate over here. And this is done. Can you see that if it is greater than 1 lakh, it's going to be high. If it is between 1 lakh and 50,000, it's moderate. And then I'll write else. If none of the condition is satisfied, say that it's a low salary bracket which is there. And when I execute it, you can see the data having low, high, and some or the other. It could be moderate. But salary between 1 lakh and 50,000, then moderate. It's not showing over here. I have to categorize the data into few more groups. Earlier it was high and low. Now I have to categorize it into high, moderate and low over here. So I have one case conditions to be checked. Let me add one more condition to be checked over here and I'll write it just after this. That is when. Now no need to write a comma over here when you're writing one more when condition. Why? Because commas are mentioned to write multiple columns. It's not a new column which is being created. It's the same column condition which I am writing in the column or the case statement. So no need to write a comma over here when another case condition is there. This is a very silly mistake which many people do when they write and execute the case when statements code. Now when I do when the salary, I say that it's between 50,000 and 1 lakh. Then if it is between 50,000 and 1 lakh, then I have to say that it's going to be what? Moderate over here. Then I say when the salary is less than 50,000, then it's going to be low. And then else means if anyone amongst this range is not being satisfied, I'll give no range over here. That no salary range is being mentioned for the same. So when I execute this, can you see that moderate, high, low is a category which is being created on the basis of the salary, which I'm grouping the data into. So there is a salary category column created over here, which has the categories created based on the conditional check which I did. So this is how case when will work. This is how multiple conditional check would have happened. So if I see with the flow diagram that what has happened, the single expression, my expression was salary greater than 1 lakh as the first condition. Was it equals to, was it greater than, less than? Yes, no. So yes, then it was giving me high. But no, there is one more check which is happening. Salary between 50,000 to 1 lakh, which is there. If it is, then it was giving us moderate. But if it was not, it was going to one more check, that is salary less than 50,000? If it is yes, then it was saying me low. If it is not, then it was giving me else. That was a by default no range. But based on my data, I have categorized it into three salary categories: high, medium and low, or I can call it as high, moderate and low. So this is how I did over here, and this is how Caseman has executed the same. Now let us see the next question over here, that determining employee's bonus based on the department. Now the bonus of the employee which will be provided will be based on the department. So every department wise the bonus criteria is changing. But let me see what are the unique departments which I have into my data first. So I'll go with select star from employee details. As I've said, first always see the data which is there. Do we have a department column? Yes. So I'll write department over here. I just wanted to see the departments which are there. So departments are there. A lot of times it repeated. Let me write distinct. So there is a distinct department which is there. So what it is showing me? Human resources, marketing, finance, sales, and I try to modify my code as much as I can. So what it is telling me, determine employees bonus based on the department. So I'll write select star from employees first. Employee details. Now I want all the columns to be there, and with respect to that column, I want a case condition to implement. So I'll write case. So once I write case, can you see a line which is coming? So this case will have multiple conditionals stored. So this is what it is giving me. So case when this condition. Now what I am going to do, when the department which I have is related to, let's say, sales. When the department which I have is related to sales, then the bonus which these guys are going to get is the 15% of their salary. So salary into 0.15. So I'm doing a calculation over here. It's not always that I'll write an outcome or a value to be stored in this. I can definitely write a calculation for the same. So, comma, if I write when, now if you want to beautify it, you can write it like this, or you have a beautify option which you can do once the code is ending. So here, when I say that department is equals to finance, for them, the salaries 20% is bonus. So 0.20, I'm writing it over here. As I said, a comma is not mandatory over here because it will expect that comma means a new column is being added. It's a not new column, it's the same column where the entries are being repeated based on the conditional check. So I write one more when. When I say that we have department, which is equals to, let's say, marketing, and these guys are going to get 10% of their salaries as the bonus, so 0.10. Now when I say when, the department over here is equals to, let's say I can use like operator over here, like operator, and it has something related to technology. Now it can be at the start, end, or at the beginning. So something related to technology is being checked over here. Then their bonus is going to be salaries 30%. So 30% of their salaries is going to be what? The bonus which is being paid to them. Now if all the conditions, now these are the criteria which the team gave me, that these are the bonuses which are being provided. And for rest of them, the bonus amount is going to be the same. So I'll write else. If any one condition is not mentioned, then salaries 12% is the bonus by default, which is there. And definitely, if I stop it over here, it's going to be an error for me. Why? Because it is expecting me to end over here. The statement is not ended. So end, as I write end, it is done and it's dusted. So end as what? I want to end it as, let's say, bonus, which is being given to the employees. And when I execute it, can you see the bonus is being calculated over here based on the checks which I have done. So if the sales department is there, 15% of their salary would be the bonus amount which will be provided to them. So this is how you can get the calculation over here. Now I can write comma and I can add one more column. Now I can say salary plus bonus. Now if I am doing an addition, salary plus bonus as, and I write as total salary. If I do like this and execute it, it is going to give me an error. Why? But did I create a bonus field? Yes, it is being created. But it's a calculation. It's not an actual column stored into my table. So it cannot be used for creating new records for me on the basis of my data. It should actually store into my table, and then and only then I can use the bonus as a column to be giving out certain calculated values for me. So this is how you can use your case when statements into your select. So we have used case when statements into our select to get the bonus. But if I want to combine an actual column with the case column which I created and generate a new column, it is not possibly available. Why? Because bonus as a column is just created for the outcome purpose. It is not stored into my table. So this was it. Let us go and solve another question over here. Just a second. Yeah. Let us go and solve another question over here related to the data. And let us see how it can work. Now, group the employees based on the salary ranges which are there. Now, I want to have the salary ranges. As you know that we created the salary ranges or the salary categories which were there. high, moderate and low. So this was a data which has been created it over here. Now I want to group and show that how many employees are belonging to low salary range, moderate salary range and high salary range, which was there. So I can do group by. Now you all must be knowing that the column which is used in group by should be a part of my select. So I want to group the data based on the salary category, the case when statement which we created, the case when new column which we created it. So when I execute it, it is going to throw me error. What's the error? The error is not related to salary category. This is related to star, because as I said, the column which is a part of group by, the same column should be part of my select. So in select, all the other columns are also there respect to the salary category. I have to remove this. Can you see that it is creating 3 salary category groups for me? So can I use it into group by? Yes. The case when column which I created into select, it can be easily used into group by. So after this, what I want count star as employee count. So I create like this. And can you see in low salary bracket, how many employees are there? 21. Moderate salary bracket, 19. And high salary bracket, it's 3. So only this many employees are possibly available into my data with respect to low, moderate and high salary bracket. So I have grouped the employees based on the salary ranges or the salary categories which I have created on the data with respect to my case when statements. So whatever case categorization which I have used, can I use it into my outcome? Yes, I can definitely do it over here. So I hope this is also clear with you all that how a column which I have used in case when or a categorization column which I have used can be used for group by and aggregation of my data. Now the next example is updating. Now we saw using case when statements only into select so far. With all the 3 examples which I showed you, all the 3 examples were showing that how case when could be used only in select. Now many people think that can it be only applicable into select? The answer is no. You can also use it in insert, delete, update. So I'll show you an example of using it into an update statement. So update employee titles based on their experience. So let's say select star from employee details and I go over here. So you can see experience of the employees are there. What is a minimum experience and maximum experience? Let's try to understand over here. So what is a minimum experience which an employee consists? Minimum experience is 1. Let me see the maximum experience an employee consists over here. What is in maximum experience? 10. Now I have to categorize the data based on the minimum experience and maximum experience, and I have to give some job titles to them over here. So let me see that what all columns do I have into my table. Do I have a job title? No. So let me categorize it over here. So I write select. So I have to create a column first. So I'll write select star from employee details. Now why I'm writing this code again, I'll explain you. So employee details, and I'll write a case when statement. So I'll write case when the experience of the employees is greater than 8 years. Then I want to give them as senior manager. So I want to give them a title as senior manager. Over here, let's say I have an experience when the experience of an individual is between, let's say between 5 and 8, means it's between 5 to 8 years. If it is greater than 8 years, it's a senior manager. If it is between 5 to 8 years, then it is going to be a managerial role. So it's a manager which is there. When the experience of an individual is between, let's say, 4 to 3 years or 4 to 2 years, when experience is between 2 to 4 years, so I'll write 2 and 4 years, which is there, then I'll write an associate manager, which is there, and else means if it is 1, less than 1, or not there over here. So I can write when experience is equals to 1, means it's 1 year, then it's going to be what? Let's say a basic analyst for a company. And then else, if it is not there, the experience is not mentioned, then definitely it will be a fresher. So I'll write it as fresher over here, and I'll end this statement. End as what? As the job titles. So I've written this. So I've written the job titles over here. So if the experience was 1, it was giving me analyst. If it was, let's say it's between 2 and 4, it should give me, let's say I write between experience greater than or equals to 2 years, and if I write experience less than equals to 4 years, then it's an associate manager. Yeah, it's between this. Why it is not giving me for 1.5? Why 1.5 is showing to be as fresher? Let me try it out in single quotes over here. Just a second. Senior manager. Over here for 1.5 and 1.6, it's between this. So let me change it. If the experience is greater than this, if the experience is less than, greater than, equals to 5 years, then it's a manager. And if I write experience greater than or equals to 4 years or 2 years, it's an associate manager. And let me see, for 1.5 it's still showing me fresher. Just a second. As you can see, there is an issue. Let us try, and it's equals to this, and the experience is less than 2 because it's 1. So if 1 is not there, it is giving me for 1.5, it is not giving me 4 here. So let's say then analyst. Let us try it out over here. Experience is equals to 1, and experience is equals to, experience is greater than equals to 1 and less than 2. So it's giving me analyst over here. So this is how we can implement my condition. But my question was updating employee titles based on the experience. So I have to update a title column over here. So if I see my details table, the title column which I gave over here is not being created. This is just showing me the result into my select statement. I want this title as a column to be added, the job title or the profile title of the employee to be added into the column. So first of all, I have to create a column over here. So how do we create a column? With the help of alter. So you all must be knowing that we do employee details, add alter table, employee details, add what? I have to add, let's say, profile title as a column. So I'll give profile title as a column, and I give a data type as varchar, and let me give varchar as 20 over here, and this is there. So I execute it. Now if I see the employees table, it has profile title as a column which is empty. Now I will try to update this column over here. So I will try to add the data based on the case when statement. So update the column based on case when. So let us use case when with respect to update. So as I said, we are all using it with respect to select, but let's try to use it with respect to update. So I'll write update what? I want to update employees table which are there. What I wanted to do, I wanted to set what? Set the profile title. So set profile title over here is equals to. Now when I'm setting the profile title will not be set by one particular value or a static value. It will be set on the basis of a conditional check which I do. So we will take this code which we have over here, let's say case, and till the end you don't need to write the as condition over here. So I can write this. So case when the experience is this and the code ends. When the experience is greater than 8, it's senior. If it is greater than or equals to 5, then manager. Greater than or equals to 2, then associate. Experience greater than 1 and it's less than 2, then it is going to be analyst over here. So when I run this, it is successfully executed. And when I see the employees table now, do I have a profile title added over here? Yes. For all the employees based on their experience, a profile title has been added. So this is how you can utilize your case when statement not only into your selects but also with respect to your update statements. Now the last question for the day is with respect to the case when statements. Custom sorting based on department. So you all must be knowing sorting. So let's say I do select star from employee details. So you do employee details over here and you see this. If I want to sort the data, let's say I do order by and I want to sort the data based on the departments which are there. So department, and we do ascending. If we don't give any ascending, descending, so it will sort on the basis of the ascending, descending criteria which are there. So by default, it's ascending. If I don't give anything, if I give descending, it is going to sort it into descending. But what if I want to sort the data that is for sure here, but I want to have my customized order? Now, I have n number of departments into this table. Let's say I have n number of departments. I can see distinct departments which are there. So distinct department. And when I execute it, you can see human resources, marketing, finance, sales, information technology, operations, customer service, and many more things. So if I want to sort on a basis where I want the information technology to be shown first, then the operations, then the marketing teams, then the finance. So I have my customized order. It is not going on any alphabetical A to Z or Z to A or any ascending or descending order. I have a customized approach which I wanted to follow. So let's see how my case when can be helpful in terms of my order by. Let's try to see. So I'll do select star from employee details. I'm not going to run this query, but I'm going to write it. So order by, and I'll write case. Now case statements and case expressions, there are two criteria which are there. So case on the basis of what department? Now in case statements which we have seen, we write case and when, and then we write a condition, greater than, less than, any such condition. But expression, what it is, it will take my data, let's say when it is, let's say the first one which I wanted to show is information technology. So it is going to search that exact value over here. So When the information technology is there a department, then you'll have a follow idea of 1. Then let's say you write when the data or the criteria has, let's say after that I wanted to show the marketing team which is there, then I'll write 2, that is the second order which I wanted to show. When the statement over here is related to finance, that's the third department which I wanted to show. Then 3 I write. Then I wanted to show operations as a department, so let's say when I wanted to show operations over here, then 4, and I'll write else. So rest of them will be shown as 5, that is rest of them below in ascending order. And I try to end the statement over here. So what it is showing me, it is first going to show me as per my order. First with respect to information technology, then marketing, then finance, then operation, and then rest of them in the ascending order. But what is this? I didn't write department equals to information technology equals to marketing. So when I did earlier, this was a case statement. So case statement and expressions are almost the same, only the difference is in expression you will write an exact value to match. You cannot write greater than, less than, like and dislike over here. So department should match with information technology, then it will have an order of 1, then 2, then 3, then 4 over here. And when I execute it, you can see first it is showing me the information technology, then it is showing me the marketing, then it is showing me finance and then operations, and then the rest of the departments are being shown with respect to how they were. So as it is, the rest of them are there. So I can customize the order in which I want the outcome of my data to be sorted. We have seen ascending and descending. In Excel, we had an approach of sorting the data based on a custom order approach. So the same thing I can do and implement over here with respect to my SQL, but with the help of case-when statements. So this was all about case-when statements, that case-when statements are going to check a condition or a test statement to be implemented so that a criteria would be satisfied or not. And based on that, it is going to provide some or the other outcome. People say that case-when statements are always used with select, but it's not the case. It can be used with select, update, insert, delete, order by, and so on. So lots of operation we can do and implement with respect to the case-when statement. So this was all about case-when conditions, and I hope we are able to understand that what it is and we are clear with the concept.